Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. And double honor to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well, who I learned this truth from. And peace and salutations to the elect. This is your brother ICR for the GMS Cleveland Church, and I'm back to you with another lesson. The Lord willing, it is edifying to one of the Lord's elect. This lesson was supposed to be done yesterday, but your spirit is on me right now. Today is Friday, August 21st, if I'm not mistaken, 2026. The year of apostasy, fallouts, and agents. Okay. And hopefully year of Jacob's trouble. But, this lesson was inspired by, I overheard a conversation at the work spot yesterday at the plantation, and it was dealing with the debt of the United States of America, which is known as Mystery Babylon the Great. Okay, when you go into this word, thick clay, right, because our apostles told us to go into words, all right? Thick clay. In the Hebrew, ancient Paleo Hebrew, that is, all right, it says abatyat, which means what? Weight of pledges, heavy debts, right? What is a pledge? Let's look that up. Let's look up a pledge, right? Because a pledge is a form of agreement. As you see, a promise, a surety, right? What is a surety? All right, let's see what a surety is, because the scriptures speak about surety, right? Let's look up the word surety. It says the guarantee, a promise, a pledge of assurance, right? A promise, pledge, guarantee, assurance, confidence, freedom from care or danger, safety, security, right? So let's also look up pledge. All right. It says surety, bail, hostage, security, bail, right? It says having responsibility for, right, and America's debt has officially hit $40 trillion, which they said was supposed to happen towards the end, the latter end of the year, like around not March, but December. You see, but it has hit $40 trillion. All right, so they call lawyer how much y'all shot 441. And I woke up at 4:14. Call lawyer how much y'all shot. So the conversation was about the debt of the United States of America. And he was speaking on how times are changing. They about to get rid of, pretty much robots are going to start delivering packages with drones, and how the businesses are closing. I just seen somewhere that Starbucks is laying off people. You see, the coffee company that you people love so much has to lay off people in order to keep their businesses open. You see, but he also, my coworker also mentioned how they have to take, the Federal Reserve pretty much is raising its interest rates, right? Which is, interest, which is usually according to the scriptures, is off. You see, but they're raising the interest rate on this debt. So now this debt is even going to skyrocket even more, which is going to crash the economy, is which what Esau wants. You see, when I say Esau, I'm talking about starting with the international banking families, the so-called white people, which are so-called white people. International banking families want America, the United States of America, Babylon the Great, for this economy to collapse so they could bring in a new system, which they already, it's already here, but they need to crash it so they can fully bring it in. You see, and that system is going to be what is it? Um, digital currency. You see, it's going to be nothing but digital currency, right? And really, we already use digital currency. People already use a credit card, bank card. They use their phone. You see, you don't really see people using cash, and that's all a plan of the wicked elite banking families. You see, so it's going to justify them in bringing in the central bank digital currency, all right, and it's going to come in the form of that bark that's mentioned in Revelation 13 and 16, which is a subdermal implantable device as small as a grain of rice, man. You see, they already have it planned out, and now it's just, it's just playing out. You see, $40 trillion in debt, man. You see, and they're not going to be able to pay it back. That's why it says thick clay. It's heavy debts. You see, heavy debts, man. Let's check this video out, though, man. All right, because the video was inspired from this. This came out yesterday after the conversation that was going on in the job. And I don't own any rights to this video. All right, this is for educational purposes only and not monetary gain. It says Trump in panic mode. Economic wheels are falling off the bus as Besant sounds the alarm. All right, so I'm gonna speed it up, and I'm just gonna let it play. All right, hey, this is beautiful, man. I do want to get another scripture. All right, because the scriptures talk about other man's money. All right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 21, and verse 8. He that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathereth himself stones for the tomb of his burial. Right? You borrowing so much, and you're pretty much loading yourself with debt. You're digging yourself a grave, man, because you know you're not going to be able to get out of it, man. That's like you going to a loan shark, right? You know this nigga has high interest rates, all right? But you need such a quick loan. You see, you need the money to pay off other loans and this and that. Your interest rate, he charges you a high interest rate. You like, fuck it, I'm going to try to pay it back. And you know you're not going to be able to pay it back. People will literally kill you over this, man, right? And this is exactly... because America owes all the majority of these nations billions of dollars. Like, for instance, I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to say pretty sure, but they do owe Russia and China money, you see? And guess what? Russia and China knows they're not going to get it back. That's why they see America is switching over to a digital system, and they're going to switch over to digital currency and do away with the fiat currency, which America believes they could just wipe away their debt, all right? And they're going to start afresh when they bring in this digital currency. No. These nations that you owe billions of dollars to, they're not going to forget that. And that's why they're forming new alliances known as BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. You see, this is what they have to do to combat being duped
off all over the place right now, and the White House appears to be not necessarily saying it publicly. Okay. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent quietly trying to buy back American debt using, get this, American debt. That's like borrowing money from your credit cards to pay your own car loan. The math, of course, doesn't add up. Here's what I did. Just take a look at this chart. I put this chart up on the screen. I'm going to read what the Koblisi letter said today about this.
American debt.
The U.S. government is now spending $3.8 billion on interest per day. By 2028,
add up. Here's what I did. Just take a look at this chart. I put this chart up on the screen. I'm going to read what the Koblisi letter said today about this. The U.S. government is now spending $3.8 billion on interest per day. By 2028,
$3.8 trillion on interest.
Estimates show that the U.S. will spend $5 billion per day on interest, more than any other category.
Wow, bro.
To put this in perspective, the U.S. now spends $3.1 billion per day on Medicare, $2.5 billion per day on defense. While the cost of your debt becomes your biggest outlay, you know something is broken. Intervention by the U.S. Treasury is only a short-term solution.
$3.1 billion
David Morgan is the publisher of the Morgan Report, the author of Second Chance: How to Make and Keep Big Money from Coming Gold and Silver and Coming Gold and Silver Shockwave. And David joins us now to talk about all of this. Great to see you. Welcome to the show.
The author of Second Chance: How to Make and Keep Big Money.
Well, you're here on an auspicious day, to be sure, as we just passed $40 trillion in debt. I know, round numbers, it really doesn't matter, but it is a really
great to see you. Welcome to the show.
A monumental number. First, we just hit that just I think a short time ago, unless I'm wrong. I think it was like maybe a few hours ago. First, just your thoughts on that sustainability of us at $40 trillion in debt, and then we can get into all of the bond issuing and buying back with American debt. What do you think?
Unless I'm wrong. I think it was
well, let's give a little background. This has been said before by others and myself. But, the nation was founded in 1776, and we crossed the total debt of $1 trillion. Accumulated debt in 1982. So it took 205 years to reach $1 trillion debt. Now, in context very near to us, at the end of 2005, the debt was $37.64 trillion. And by August 14th this year, just a few days back, it reached $39.93 trillion, which is an increase of $2.3 trillion in about 7.5 months. So the key takeaway is that we're hitting that point of an exponential curve, the hockey stick. Parabolic move. And anybody that's listening to me or others through any time frame knows that a parabolic move cannot be sustained. It's the equivalent of throwing a tennis ball in the air with as much force as you can muster. It accelerates off your hand, starts to decelerate, it hits static or temporarily does nothing, and then it starts down, and it accelerates on the way down until it hits terminal velocity. The point I'm trying to make is this cannot go on a lot longer. It just cannot.
So I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how it goes on. With the Fed essentially printing money, but the Treasury. So I mean, the big story today, of course, is that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, in order to I don't know, tamp down all of the yields rising now on these Treasury bills, but the Treasury over like 5%. I don't even know what the number was. But hey, we're going to try to fix this by buying up these Treasury bills using debt. So we're going to buy our own debt using debt. To me, that's like again, it's like
5% or I don't even know
paying off your car loan.
But hey, we're going to
or making your car loan payment, but using a credit card to do it. Am I wrong?
Using debt.
No, you're right, correct. I mean, we're in a debt-based monetary system, and every quote-unquote dollar, every Federal Reserve note, to be specific, is loaned into existence. So when you pay at Starbucks, you're not really clearing the debt, you're paying the debt with another debt, is what you're doing. And that's the whole system, and you start running it well. Let's break it down a little.
Specific is loaned into existence. So when you pay at Starbucks, you're not really clearing the debt, you're paying the debt with another debt, is what you're doing. And that's the whole system, and you just outlined it well. Let's break it down a little.
That's what you call witchcraft. This whole system, you look up Babylonian black magic money. They just created money out of thin air. You see, the money used to be backed by gold and silver, but under Nixon, that was changed. I believe it was Nixon. Now the money is just has no value. You see. Because the actually fiat currency, right? Your fiat currency was a measurement, okay, of the gold and silver. But now that it's not backed by anything, it's just a piece of paper with an Edomite's face on it, man. You see, he just said it. It's a debt-bearing note. You see, and all you people who worship this money, you sell your soul for it. You chase it. You want to do the money funnel and the money spread. You want to just waste your money throwing it on strippers and, living a so-called lavish lifestyle. These things are going to be stripped from you in the blink of an eye. And you're going to suffer, right, as it says in the book of Proverbs. I believe it's the 23rd chapter, right? And I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, labor not to be rich. Cease from thine own wisdom. Right, the Lord says in Proverbs 30, give me food convenient for me. Be right in the middle between rich and poor. which we're at the, we're not even in the middle of rich or poor. We are poor, but the Lord gives us daily bread. See, so we're good. We're just in the right. We're in the right position. We're not too far. Hey, we ain't making 6, 7 figures. We not chasing after none of that shit, man. Because that's your own wisdom. You see, and ultimately, chasing after riches pushes you further and further away from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You see? It says, without set thine eyes upon that which is not. For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven, man. Right. Or when you set your eyes upon that which is not, meaning what? It's gonna vanish. You see? People are gonna wake up one morning they have all this money in their bank account or, just under their bed somewhere. You're going to wake up and see when gas hits $10 a gallon, the price of living just fucking skyrockets out of nowhere. They're going to see that all this money they have is truly worthless. Look up the Walmart, I think it was the Republic, where people have barrels of money, right, just to pay for a loaf of bread. You see, this is why it's important. If you just stack enough money to go buy assets, pay off a car that's paid off, try to buy, really want to buy is gold or silver, right? Which those things are not going to deliver us, but it's wise to get. You see, you want to buy some, like they said, buy rice, water. Canned goods, non-perishable canned goods, that is. You see, because food is going to be way more important than money to you people. All right. See, the Lord is going to protect us in the time of this calamity. You see.
A little further. The Fed can administer the overnight rate, the Fed funds rate. Talk about that all the time. But they cannot command the bond market, although they try and do a lot of things. I'll get to the specifics a little bit later. If the Fed lowers the short-term rates, while the long yield remains intact, in other words, it's been for the last several months, we will be more concerned about inflation, deficits, and the Treasury situation than anyone else. In other words, people like you, platforms like you, are the only ones that are really giving the American public, or the world for that matter, the truth. A rate cut is not automatically bullish. Why not? Because, first of all, investors could look at it as inflationary, which is probably like further fire under the precious metals. And the real question is that to really lower rates and have a substantive impact on the debt payment is based on the treasuries that are already out there after reach maturity. So you have to get rid of those high-priced bonds and then refinance them at a lower rate. It's like refinancing your house, but you have to wait until the right time takes place. So there's a lot of factors in there. The Fed sets the price of overnight money. The bond market sets the price of long-term credibility. And it's been doing that more and more. And to finish up and give it back to you, Clayton, the Treasury just said that the Federal Reserve, is going to intervene into the long end of the bond, into the bond area. I think it might have been all across the yield curve. I don't remember. 10 and 20 and 30-year bonds, at least, if not the whole yield curve. And they're going to double their input from $2 billion allowed to $4 billion. So they're doubling. So they're trying to fiddle with it. That's what Operation Twist was all about. They don't even name it anymore. They never refer to quantitative easing. They just basically do the best they can to manage the situation that's basically out of control. Or let me say, getting out of control. That's what Operation Twist was all about. Sorry, I cut to get there.
They don't even name it anymore. They
well, I mean, is this an admission that the U.S. Treasury is basically admitting that the economy is collapsing? I mean, is there another way to read it?
Out of control or getting
well, yeah. I mean, there's other ways to read it, and this will be the propaganda press doing what they do best, going into the Mockingbird feature and basically lying to the American public. But if you want to break it down to the absolute facts, you did.
Well, yeah.
We are entering the final phase of a debt-based monetary system that cannot go on much longer.
Going into the Mockingbird feature and basically lying to the
I hope
American
people
public.
paying attention. Like, we are heading for a collapse. We've been warning people about it for a couple of years here, and it's now, of course, accelerating.
System that cannot go on much longer.
I mean, and then what? I don't know. I want to talk about what we can do to protect ourselves. But like you see what's happening in Japan right now.
We've been warning people about it for
dumping
a couple
U.S.
years
treasuries
here, and it's now, of course,
like a bad habit. Accelerating that dumping.
I mean,
at record paces. We're seeing the price of just tangentially, just like look at things like price of ground beef up 9% since July.
Like a bad habit.
Since July. Just to look at meat. Put that on your plate.
At record paces, we're
gas
seeing
prices $4 a gallon.
Just
Diesel prices
just
everywhere.
things like
Like, what more do people need to see before they start hunkering down and planning? But anyway, sorry, I'm
meat. Put that on your
I
plate.
just hope people can hear this.
Sorry, gas prices, $4 a gallon.
Well, let me
Diesel
unpack
prices
a little
everywhere.
more succinctly, perhaps.
What more do people need to see
the central
before they
banks
start
are
hunkering
trapped,
down
and that's what we're talking
and
about. You just asked the question, I answered it. If they keep rates high,
I just hope people can hear
that
this.
damages the housing market. Commercial real estate as well. And leverage companies and government finances, because government wants a low interest rate so they don't have to, they can keep paying back the interest on the debt. Don't pay back the debt, pay back the interest on the debt. So cutting aggressively risks renewed inflation, dollar weakness, and loss of bond market confidence. Using quantitative easing on the yield curve that we just suppresses nominal yield but potentially destroys real purchasing power. So that's that part. I guess I can sum it up saying that the Fed can rescue the nominal value of the bond. Oh, bonds are good. We're buying them. Showing that they're good. We're buying our, buying our own products, as you said. Or it can defend the purchasing power of the currency. So that's really it. You destroy the currency, make it Venezuela where there's so much currency printed it's in the gutters and people will not stoop in the gutters to pick it up. It's so worthless. I don't think so. But that would be the trend of furthering that trend, I should say. At some point, it may not be able to choose. The market itself might take over for it.
I don't think so.
Rumble Wallet, what is it? Well, Rumble Wallet is a place for you to control your money, and no one else can control your money. And this is a paid advertisement for Rumble Wallet. They're sponsoring this portion of the show.
Rumble Wallet, what is it?
Power somebody else. Rumble.com today is acted trying to get hungering, and I'm always the glass half full kind of person.
But for Rumble Wallet, they're sponsoring this portion of the show.
Like looking for an exit ramp here. I mean, they're totally trapped. I mean, if you were in there right now,
Rumble.com today is acted 10 to
what would you tell them to do? What can you possibly do at this stage? Is it too far gone?
Well, first I would prepare a couple of statements, probably have the president deliver them, or maybe the Secretary of the Treasury. And I would tell the American people what you've been doing, you and Natalie, what Redacted's done. And then tell them what the problem is, and I keep it as simple as possible. And say there's no way out of this without paying, and here's the pain. We're going to write what we adhered to in the beginning, the establishment of this republic, to let the free market determine what the cost of money is. And whenever you have a lot of something, it's not very valuable, right? I mean, if everybody had a peanuts in their backyard, you wouldn't buy them at the store, they're everywhere. Just pick them up. I'm just using a silly example. But if there's a lot of US dollars out there, how much are they worth? And if they're not worth very much, then what do you pay for them?
Peanuts in their backyard, you wouldn't buy them at the store, they're everywhere. Just pick them up. I'm just using a silly example. But if there's a lot of US dollars out there, how much are they worth? And if they're not worth very much, then what do you pay for them? Well, an ice cube melting in your hand, you got to sweeten the deal and make the interest rates high enough for people to take on that risk because they know 10 years from now that thing isn't going to buy what you're giving up now to purchase it. So that would spike interest rates. And wherever the market determined you'd have those interest rates, you'd have a commensurate deflation or contraction in the value of the bond market. Because as you know and all your viewers know, when interest rates go higher, the bond price goes lower because the bond that says $1,000 face value is dependent totally on the interest rate it provides. And if it's providing 5%.
See, Esau's whole system is being broken down by Yahweh Shimei Shah right before our eyes. And his system is a whole bunch of confusion. Bond markets and treasuries and all this shit, that's not mentioned in the fucking scriptures, man. You see, when you dealing with business in the scriptures, man, transactions were pretty much, it wasn't no gray areas. You see, it was black and white. You either was paying this price or not. You see what I'm saying? If you paid it, it was yours. There wasn't no fucking adhesion contracts or none of that shit. And it wasn't no fucking usury. All right? It may have been usury because our people were wicked. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't no astounding usury like Esau is doing right now, man. And this is the byproduct of usury, man. You see, when you keep, putting out high interest rates on loans and debts, hey, this is what happens, man. The fall of the United States of America is about to be astounding, man. You see, everybody's lives is about to take a fucking hit, you see. And it is all the cause and doings of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. The scriptures say in Revelation 13 chapter, he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. How is he going to cause everybody to take that C-hip? By collapsing the fucking economy, man. All right? So I'm going to close out. Lord willing, says edify to one of the Lord's elect. This place is fucking finished, man. You know, people are working just to get by, man. Right? Do you think people are going to travel to work when gas hits $10 a gallon? Right? You people are not in an uproar about this shit. You do the founding fathers you love and hold so dearly. They revolted when they were hit with a tax, man. Like the stamp act, you know, the T tax, all those taxes which made America revolt. Okay, those 13 colonies, if you might say. You know, the Quebec Act, right? You know, all these taxes that was put on them back then, they revolted. Now you people don't even fucking have a problem with it, man. The Lord has truly put you people in a slumber, man. Esau has rocked you people to sleep with his deception, man. He has complete control over the minds of you Babylonians, man. And you really believe this system is going to fucking go on? You're through, man. You're fucking